So maybe just join me. Mwamba wenye imara, kwako nitajificha, maji hayo na damu yaliyotoka humo hunisafisha dhambi, hunifanya mshindi. Bishop, presiding pastor, and all the clergy, and allow me to write an as I prepared to give my tribute. I would like to request to be coming forward, just to stand, not to speak. The Commission on Revenue Allocation team, please just stand and start coming. I am sorry you had been put in the program, but somebody may have felt you fall under constitutional commissions, and so you got lost in there. Please come forward, and as you come forward, I would like to request the team of lawyers of Ngungu and team Murugu Mkele, please also that team, the IBC team, Moses, just to come forward. I'd like to request the home care team, Langat, Mwangi, Shaha, all that entire team, just be coming forward, please. Lucy, Kutz, of course, my chairman of the subcommittee, please just step forward. And I don't think Professor Gulie and Molu and Marjan are here, but I know IBC is here. Vera is not here, but her children are here. Now, don't be worried, they are not going to speak. And when indeed I start my tribute, feel free to stand there. Once I see you there, I'll get the message. Because it's very, very difficult to put these tributes to speak of the gentleman that is lying there. I've been strong. I'll try to be strong. And the reason I'm strong is because of the support. Mary, Winnie, please come forward. The support that I have received ever since 20th February, just about midnight. I know there's more. There are more people who have supported. But why I'm just calling this team is they have been involved on a day-to-day basis in ensuring that the chairman gets the best, either in terms of support or in terms of spiritual prayers. Chairman Namwa, please, I wanted you to come forward. They've been praying, they've supported us in all manner. In the interest of time, I will not mention them. I'll just ask the group of the house team, Ken and your team, Ken and the team, Wamukoya, Shaha, Lanat. These have been the caregivers of the chairman, cooking. I think there's Shaha, literally making sure that he's been okay. He was okay initially, but when he started getting sick, then they came in. And I don't know if David is here, he's physiotherapist. If you are, please come forward. They've literally taken care of him on a daily basis. Thank you very much. We will get you to speak on Friday during the tribute upcountry. I also have the team of my sister and my brother, please stand up. Lucy and Kutz, the night the news came in, the news Rachel is talking about, and the chairman of our committee, these are the people who accompanied me to hospital that night. The way the news was broken to me, I was just told he's had a cardiac arrest and he has died. That was just before midnight, so it was very devastating. It so happened Rachel, as she has said, was away, and my son Jonathan was around, and they were speaking on phone, and Rachel could hear me get the call on the other line. Within no time, she had mobilized a team to accompany me to hospital. Thank you very much. That is Lucy, my sister, and Kutz, my brother, and Makeli Ngesa. The other people who've been there literally on a day-to-day basis, every day, the lawyers, please step forward. Day-to-day basis, these lawyers have been available. They've been visiting. If it's birthdays, they've celebrated. When the sad news has come in, we have always felt free to share with them. And they have always said, please let us know if you have a problem and if you require anything. Thank you very much. Don't take it for granted. Somebody missing here is one of the lawyers who passed on, Wakili Mutembei, who was also very close with the chairman. Thank you very much. From IBC, Marjan, the CEO, current CEO, Professor Guli, and the two other commissioners, Professor Guli and Commissioner Molu. We used to call them the four musketeers, because they used to move around together. They made decisions together. So whenever they visited, literally almost every day, and I will always make sure that whoever wants to visit chairman should come around 1 o'clock. Kutz and Mangesa, it was deliberate. I hope you enjoyed the chicken you used to eat. Thank you, Ken, for providing that lunch. I'll just call Ken when these people say they are coming, and I'll try to make sure it is at lunchtime so that they give company to the chairman, because that was the best time to have visited him. Thank you very much. Let me ask the other Achilles, please, Lucy and team, just to step forward. Yes, again, thank you very much for the support that you have given. We are truly grateful. Lucy is the former PA. Wakilis again supported him. You may not have enjoyed the chicken, but you did support very much. Thank you. So this other team, I have a lady here, Rose Wanja. Rose Wanja is a very interesting person. This girl was given instructions by the state to ensure that the chairman goes to Germany. And then she goes ahead and she says, I come from Germany. My father was a German. And then she tells the chair, in his state of sickness, I never saw my father. When you go to Germany, please look for my father. And the chair asks, so how old is your father? Do you think he is? Say, just over 100 years. He says, okay, I'll try, but if I don't find him, can I be your father? So thank you very much, Anja. She ensured that the 2 trips that he made to Germany, she was the one liaising with us for the surgeries. I have now my commission here. Is there anybody else? Again, I'll request them just to step forward. These are the people who I work with and who keep me going in the office. I will start with the commissioners, my vice, who is now in charge of the office and who has been steering, because we are at a very critical stage of that office. Commissioner Kuko, so I'll not allow them to speak. Commissioner Wayaki. We have Josephine, who represents the National Treasury. She actually represents the PS Treasury, Kipto. And then then there's Commissioner Fatuma Bibi, who I'm told was here, but she has been because of the fasting, the Ramadan, she's not here. I want to send a special thanks to her. Every morning she has walked with buckets of mandazis, mahamri, biryanis, potatoes. So literally, we have hardly bought mandazis. She has supplemented Ken with his cooking. So please extend my appreciation to her. Behind is the CRA team, what I call the CRA team. I see some directors, thank you very much, and some of my staff. And I'm very grateful for the support that you have given me. I will not allow you to speak. You will speak on Friday because that's when we have allocated tributes. So thank you so much. Thank you very much, the rest of you. I wouldn't want to take over the program, but I just wanted you to get a feel of the team that has been behind the chair. Ruth Muganda, she's here. Yeah, she has a right to complain. Ruth Muganda is a very, very dear friend. We come a long way. And also Mary, who people mistake to be my sister. So thank you very much, Ruth. We have been together for, I don't know, many, many years. Yes, thank you, as old as our children. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. In the process, I want to extend sincere appreciation. I know there will be a vote of thanks to those of you who supported us financially. Please, Margaret, Amanda, please stand up where you are. Sorry, you know you are small, so sometimes we forget you. That is my first cousin. She's a daughter to Rachel, and she's been very, 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 very supportive. Literally kept on coming home, knows the entire story of the chairman, because they used to engage every other time. Sorry, Margaret, I'd forgotten you. Thank you very much. I want to then proceed. As I say, I was appreciating the financial support. It's been overwhelming. We were told we shall have a state funeral, but that will happen at home. But again, state funeral, as we still have to get support to meet certain expenses, because as you are aware, if I have to host guests in the village, there will be more of the politicians' guests than my own guests. My own guests are about this number, but I've been told to host 2,000 people. Emil, my brother-in-law, thank you very much. You've been very supportive, always coming home. I hope you enjoyed the salads. We also used to time the time to come home. Thank you very much. Allow me now to just go through quickly my tribute. And as I say, if you feel free to stand presiding, go ahead. I am very good at taking instructions. So mine is a letter to this gentleman that lies here. A very handsome gentleman, no doubt. Our formal journey between you and I began on the 21st of April 1990, when we solemnized our solemnized our marriage at Mariakani Christian Center. But our story had started long before that. I first met you when I was attending a training which was sponsored by the National Treasury in Mombasa. I was an accountant then. You were then running your law firm of Wanyonyi and Company Advocates. Most people know me as Mrs. Wanyonyi. Many think Wanyonyi is somebody else. My husband is Wanyonyi Chebukati, so I'm married to the same man. We are not two different men. So I have been Mrs. Wanyonyi ever since I started working. Chebukati surfaced when 2017 came out, but I hardly used the name until 2022. During my mom's funeral, that is when I was introducing the chairman, everybody was shocked and they were like, oh, so this is a Chebukati. So that is how, you may ask why I'm using two names of his, Wanyonyi Chebukati. Well, maybe I loved him so much that I had to take two of his names, I don't know. But it was an issue even when I went for vetting for my position. Because the parliamentarians thought there was a Wanyonyi and there was a Chebukati, so they didn't understand why I was not using the Chebukati name, but it's one and the same. So before our wedding, my pastor insisted that we undergo counseling sessions, and that was a prerequisite for marriage. You took it to heart, attending every session without fail, knowing that that losing even one of them might lead to disqualification. I had a very curly pastor. So, as the wedding day approached, you travel from Mombasa every weekend, sometimes twice a week, determined to see it through. When we were doing our wedding cards, the church insisted on your Christian name. He didn't give his name. I had to call the father to give me his Christian name. That's when I knew he was called Wellington. But as a Christian, he was a true Christian. But I think this phobia of university, when they were in the university being rebels, for some reason, they preferred using their African names. So today you have learned my husband was actually called Wellington. So that's what went on to the card. Wellington, Wellington weds Mary. So a month after our wedding, I was transferred to Mombasa to join him. So later it became clear to me that the pastor had been testing your commitment. And that was because the sessions he used to come for, I think the pastor wanted to really understand and be sure I am in the right hands, because my pastor was a Bunyori, and my husband, I was going to get married to a Bukusu. And you know Bukusus, they are like Muslims. They can have more than one wife. So my father had actually cautioned me, and he kept on asking, are you sure you want to go to Bukusu? And if you do, then be ready to have company. So he kept on fearing that he knew the way he had brought us up. My parents had been together and we had not had issues of a polygamous marriage. And I was entering a home which was polygamous, and my father feared that I may be a subject of a polygamous setup. But the sessions that we took place, a man lying here assured my pastor that Bukusu cultures will not play a big role in our family. And indeed they did not. So I remember when we ran for the MP seat in Saboti, Trans Nzoia, you were adamant that I accompany you to the campaign rallies, but I resisted wanting to focus on our young family while managing my job in the public sector in the Coast Province. You didn't hear about it. I had to be by your side. At first, I didn't understand why. But over time, I realized that while you needed my support in your public life, you were just as committed to ensuring I was never in harm's way. You encouraged my presence, but never exposed me to the chaos and scrutiny that came with public life. I learned how to blend into the crowd, to be there without drawing attention. Later I understood it was your way of silently taking care of me. At your request, your elder sister, my Dina, she spoke here, she moved into our home during the campaign period. 2007. And her role was not just to support you, but to care for me. You knew the demands of the campaign and the pressures it would bring, and you made sure I wasn't left to navigate it alone. That was the kind of man you were. It turned out that because I was not at home in Saboti or Kitale, I was in Coast. There were so many people hovering around pretending to be the first ladies of the MP, the aspiring candidate. So I think he deliberately put Sister Dina there just to make sure that there's a shield around him. So that was him. I think that's why I am still the only wife to the man I'm here. That was the highest chance of it happening, because when you are campaigning, everybody wants to associate with you as your first lady. So my husband kept on insisting, you must come home, you must be seen, I must be seen to have a wife and to just have a decent wife. So I will fast forward to your friends. You were chair and then later chairman. But to me, you were always honey or darling. But when Rachel came up as the first child, honey, darling got out of the way. It became Mama Rachel and Mama Rachel. So that is how we all acquired those titles. In the early days of our life, we had only one car, until later when we realized having a second car was more of a necessity than a luxury. Every morning, you would drop me at the district treasury where I worked and pick me up in the evening. I recall one of those days, as a young married couple, we had a disagreement. And I gave you the silent treatment of, as you took me to work, of kneel by mouth. We were not talking. So when we were not talking, it was always kneel by mouth. When you came to pick me up in the evening, you saw me from a distance, laughing heartily, chatting, and very excited. When I got into the car, I instantly resumed my kneel by mouth. Remember, carry forward from morning. You looked at me and said, was that you I just saw, or was it someone else who looked exactly like you? Happy and cheerful, and now you are kneel by mouth. Of course, that broke the ice and we continued talking. So he had a way of bringing me back whenever we had disappointments. As an advocate, he often had cases outside Mombasa and would ask me to accompany him. I vividly recall a trip to Embu where you designated me as your driver so you could prepare your case. Preparing the case was an excuse. He just wanted me to do the driving and to accompany him. At the time, I thought it was simply about work, but over time, I realized it was much more. He wanted us to bond and get close to each other. And that is how we got close, because Rachel came 2 years later after our marriage. Those 2 years were real bonding years. When I was transferred from Mombasa to Nairobi, because I overgrew my seniority, so I was taken to Nairobi. And being a Bukusu man, there was no way I could force you to join me, or even a Luya man. So I found a way. I started slowly pulling out the children. So I pulled Rachel to Nairobi, then I pulled Jonathan, and you heard Emmanuel say how they remained the two of them, and they realized they just have to come to Nairobi. That's how my husband ended up coming to Nairobi. And eventually, I saw the team of Kuto there. He now opened and became the managing partner, and opened their Nairobi branch. Many people assumed I was the talkative one in our marriage. No. This man spoke more than I did. You will not believe it. He spoke more than I did. He chatted more than I did. And the people who actually know that, who gave the tribute that is really applicable to the gentleman here, was the IBC, where he spent 6 years at the helm. To him, that was his second family. He protected them, and they are here. He ensured that he gave them their best coverage. And I was so encouraged when they came home, almost 150 of them. They had a ceremony, lit candles, and the tributes we had were spot on. That is exactly my husband. IBC, you got it right. That is him. Yes, thank you very much. So the only thing I've not done, because Chairman had a habit of starting things, he starts projects, and then he dumps them on me because he knows I'll run with them. But one thing we've not been able to do with him was to do the PhD. We kept on arguing who will start their PhD first among the 5 of us. It's still a challenge, but for me, I don't think it adds any value. So the challenge is among the 3. So he encouraged me. You have heard about our golf career. You often set that difficult task. I have just told you that. My husband was so generous, so generous. His generosity was to the extent that when he traveled out of the country, he thought the more expensive was the best. So he would bring me very expensive things which sometimes I would not be able to wear. But I would have to pretend that they are very nice and they are very good. But for him, he picked price first, then quality. Because for him, he believed it's the best when it's the most expensive. So I enjoyed a lot of your gifts, which I know now I will not be able to have So after the first surgery, he went about life as if nothing had happened. And you have had that. Playing golf and doing everything he could. The children stepped in, they would accompany him. We used to work in shifts, as Emmanuel had mentioned. At no time after his first surgery did the gentleman here remain on his own. We did shifts. If it was in Germany, we went in shifts. Emmanuel, being self-employed, spent more time. The rest of us would do at least 2 weeks whenever we were required. And when he started ailing, the same thing happened. Despite the fact that he had 24-hour nursing care and aid care, we ensured that each of us had shifts. And if I had to go away, because CRA demanded of me to travel, Rachel, thanks to her bosses, would take leave and come and step in my position. This gentleman, I cannot say more, he was a man of integrity. He hated, he despised liars or lies. He couldn't stand a lie. He just could not stand anybody lying around him. In fact, his favorite verse, Mark 8:36, he loved this verse. For what shall it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? He really loved this verse. I cannot really end this all before speaking about August 22. There's so much to speak, but let me fast forward to August 15th, 2022. Just before the results were announced. It was chaotic. But just around noon, a call came in and the pastors wanted clearance at the gate. So they requested that the chair asked the protocol team to allow them to have quick, free access. So he was getting ready because he had come back very early in the morning of August 14th. I heard him telling his team that he would be announcing the results on that day at 3. He hadn't slept, so I forced him to sleep for at least 2-3 hours so that he could take a rest. And when he woke up, it was cold that kept waking him up, so he woke up and he was dressing. So as we were preparing him to dress, he kept on getting calls. And at one time the security came in and said, I don't know who was waiting at the gate, we don't know who was waiting at the gate. But to fast forward, a call that came in was from the Archbishop Olesapit, requesting that the chair close the gate to get clearance. Now, I overheard that conversation because he was busy dressing, so he was on speakerphone. And I said to him, why don't you ask the Archbishop to come home? And he says, why would he come home now? They are heading for, I said, no, let him come home. It turned out there were 14 of them. So when they came home, a team of 14 came in. When they came, I just told them, I pray for the chair every morning. I used to pray for him every morning before he leaves the house, because the spiritual leaders had told me I am the Esther of this country. So I used to pray for him every morning, just at the door before he leaves. So that day I prayed for him. I couldn't pray. So when the Archbishop came, and the entire team, there were 14 of them, I said to them, I'm not able to pray. Can you please pray for this day? Can you please pray for the chairman? As he proceeds to go and announce the results. So he went, they came, they took 5 minutes to get home because we don't stay far from Bomas. And when they finished, they did not sit, they just stood up, prayed, and left. But I made sure before they left, the security team ensured the chairman was in the middle of this convoy. I don't know for what reason, but I just found myself insisting, telling the security guys delay a bit because he had not fully dressed. He needed to dress up to prepare to go. So there he was in the middle of this convoy all the way to Bomas. When they got to Bomas, they believed this was the chairman's team, so they put them to sit at the back of the podium. The podium that they were going to announce the results. But ideally they were supposed to sit on another platform, but they were made to sit at the back. To me that was divine intervention, because when the fracas started, it was the men of God who were behind him. was not any other person. It was the name of God who was sitting behind him. And I thank God for that day. And in the process of that fracas, you have had, we tried to reach him, we couldn't reach him. Somehow Rachel reached him. She was trying to tell him, I don't like the way you're speaking. Are you okay? People are saying you've been hijacked, whatever. And you know, in his calm demeanor, he kept on saying, no, I'm okay. I tried to reach him. I put on my phone. My phones had been off. And the security, I told the security detail to just go to him to see if I could talk to him. I asked him, is there anybody you're seeing around him that you think I know? He says, I'm seeing Bishop Oginde. So I told him, give Bishop Oginde the phone. And he gave him the phone, and I asked Bishop, I said to him, you know you're a man of God, don't lie to me. Tell me the truth, is my husband alive? He said, yes, he's alive. I said, I repeated, you're a man of God, just tell me the truth. He said, I can see him. He's alive, but he's surrounded with people, so I can't even give him the phone. Thank you very much, Bishop. That made a big difference. We were really stressed at that time because people were calling in, calling Rachel, calling me, saying, Chairman is being compromised, he's refusing to announce the results, and a lot of talk. So that was a very difficult day for us. But God came through for us. He really came through for us. So we thank God. And I want to say, when he came home, after he announced the results, he was so tired he just slept on the sofa. And then when he woke up, he asked, is there peace in the country? And I said, yes. And it just turned out there was the TV was airing, the people, at that particular time it was some young people in Kisumu. And this young guy was saying, wakati huu hatutarusha mawe. So I told him, you can see for yourself, the country is peaceful. And he said, so why did anybody else think that the country was not going to be peaceful? And he was so excited. He said, I know I have made the right decision. What I needed is to have this country peaceful. I was not going to be the one to cause bloodshed in this country. So he was very clear about that, and he was very peaceful after that. And the rest, you know, we went for the Supreme Court, and the rest, you know. So on 12th February is when he was admitted. But he had been in hospital for about more than a month, almost 2 months. In ICU, he went and then came back to the ward. Then when they're just about to discharge him, he picks a hospital infection, so they retain him. Just again, when they're about to discharge him, he picks a hospital. So the day he just survived the hospital infection, we requested the hospital to release him because they had already told us they'll be releasing him to palliative care, which they did. We set up a ward for him, a proper ward, oxygen, everything. But somewhere along the line, his oxygen levels had gone down, but they were improved, but the doctors insisted he goes in. So he goes in on 12th February, and he's admitted. And 2 days later, his lungs have fluid. And then on Saturday, he has a cardiac arrest. He had a cardiac arrest, and the doctor comes out and says, we've lost him. I was there with my young sister-in-law, Eliza. There was a lot of emotion. And Rachel says, no, I'm going to the room. The doctor says, you need to see what you're seeing there. I had been there earlier and I could see them trying to resuscitate him. So I left the room to go and pray. I went to one of the rooms we used to sit, and I said, God, just give us another miracle. God has just been kind to us. You heard what Rachel said. We had been given 4 to 6 months. Chairman went on and on and on. The doctors, even when they were now getting discouraged, because we were encouraged, they came back on. And they kept on saying, he's on because of the support that he's getting. So he's continued fighting. When he would go down, we would be worried, then again he comes up, then again he goes down. So that is how he was. But we thank God that on that day, the first cardiac arrest, Rachel went to the room. She found they were still, resuscitating him. I don't know what she told him, because immediately after that the doctor said, we have found the pulse. And they started clapping and they were all excited. Everybody in the room was excited. Remember, we had just been told we've lost him. So he survived that day, and that day he had 4 more cardiac arrests. He survived them, and the following day he was okay. That was now Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at night. I had talked to the doctor around 11 p.m. So that's why I was a bit surprised to get a call at 11:30 to be told he had had a cardiac arrest, and now he's dead. Those were the words, that he's dead. So I asked them, is that how you're announcing the results? I mean, he's dead to me. They said, yeah, he has died, so we need to come in. So the miracle for us. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. The testimony I believe he was supposed to give is this testimony that we have had today. That is what I believe. And many more days and years to live on for the kind of work he did, what he did for this country. Because a lot of prayers were taking place throughout. And what was interesting, whenever he would go down, all the people would be praying for him that day. You just find, even without us talking to him, they are praying. All the time, when he's improved and he's doing very well, again you find these prayers. So it's as if there was some connection with him and people who were praying for him. So I just want to say, my darling, gone are those joyful moments we had, the memorable times we had with the children and yourself. Those international trips that we made, which whenever we went for holiday, we carried my mother with me. We also made trips, we would carry my parents-in-law with me. And I think at this juncture, please pray for them. They were not able to come. My father is even sick. My father-in-law is sick in hospital. When I lost my parents, those became my parents, my immediate parents. And when my father-in-law came after the news, before he knew he had lost his son, he was coming to Nairobi. He had an accident and he injured his leg. So that's what is giving him trouble. Apparently some metal remained in his leg and it's becoming septic. But I spoke to him this morning. He blessed us. He said, I will not be able to join you. My mother-in-law, of course, will not be able to join me. The sisters are here. The brothers are here. And we thank God for them. So just to say that I will miss this gentleman. I don't know. People have been saying you'll be there for us. I hope you'll be there for us, because that's what has made us strong. You'll be there for us. And just as I end, just one final request. Anybody who was in the committee, please stand up. The committee that has ensured we are where we are today. I think mostly the ladies dressed in black and gold and the gentlemen. Please stand up quickly, because I don't want, if you sat on any committee, Zippy, Winnie, Mary, I can see Isaac Otolo there, Ruth. These are the people who have put together, Barbara, who have been consulting. These are the people who have put together the events. So these are the people and others who put this event together. Let me appreciate you so much. I know I might not find another time to appreciate you. Joyce, who was representing IBC, can we just clap for them? Yes, thank you, Rekesa Wakili Wanyama. These are the people who will ensure that the remains of this gentleman is taken home, is taken to see his parents who have insisted they must go there, he must go there, and finally to his home in Sabata, Kitale, at his resting place. I thank Sitam, I really thank you for for coming through for us. We really appreciate the pastors. Thank you so much. You've really come through and you've walked with us the last few days. When we used to bring chairman to this church, initially we would come through that door because it's an easier route to come in, and he would sit at that corner. Initially, the few times he came, he would be walking. He would come in with a walking stick, but there's a day we brought him on a wheelchair. And we just come and sit there, listen to the sermon, and go back. We hadn't gone to the stage of registering, but we used to sit there, or we would attend our Anglican church or our Church of God, depending on the time and the convenience, because sometimes it would be very difficult to get in. Once we come out, we see we are running late, we look for the church that is still having its hours open. So I don't take it for granted that you have taken your time, you have been with us, you've been visiting us, you have come and had services with us, and now you have even been with us until now. As a family, we really appreciate. I thank His Excellency the President for actually ensuring that his first 2 surgeries were catered for by the government and his air travel. We have, and thank the rest of the people, especially this team of lawyers who have come out to support him, to ensure that anytime the medical gap was there, they filled it in. The hospital he went to in Germany, we were running a huge debt because again when he was there, for some reason there was a hospital infection and they put us in they put everybody in the isolation ward, so our bill it exceeded what had been budgeted for. We wrote to the hospital just before he had fallen. He had gone back to be admitted. And it's called the INI, International Institute of Neuroscience. They waived the bill. They said, your account is balanced. You don't owe us. So we don't have any outstanding medical bills. We just want, the only bills we have is to ensure we give him a benefitic send-off. We have our chair of the committee here, supported by so many of you. So many of you. I can't believe it. My phone has not stopped clicking in pesa. Emmanuel, who is the treasurer, his pay bill has been receiving money throughout. So we really thank you. Since you didn't stand, do I continue? Thank you very much. God bless you.
I could not interrupt you. I'll ask you, family, please to come and stand here with the rest members of the family to join you at the casket. We want to pray for you. I will ask Bishop Oginde to actually pray, to lead us in this prayer. He needs to be in another meeting. I've prevailed on him to stay so that he can do this prayer. So please, when he leaves,